If you're new to big ambitions, it can be a little confusing. I'm going to go over some tips to help you maximize your profits in your chosen business. The first step is to search the market demand to see what's popular and where using the Market Insider app. You have the 4 districts at the top and you can sort by demand. In this example, a jewelry store in Hell's Kitchen is a good idea as both of the main products sold in a jewelry store are in demand. If you don't know what store sells what, you can click the question mark at the top for help. This help section also tells you what kind of furniture you'll need to buy to get the business running, so it's incredibly useful. If you're on a limited budget, clothing stores and gift shops are relatively cheap to set up and make a decent amount of money in the right areas. One thing to be careful of is the competition in the district. Most of the time, the reason the product is in demand is because there's no one else selling it, so you're okay. But if you do have other stores in the area, they'll reduce your customers, so keep an eye out for the competition. Now we've got the type of business and district chosen, it's time to look at what building to rent. The physical size of the building isn't that important. Instead, pay attention to the traffic and total customer limit. Traffic is how many people will organically come into the business without you advertising. The customer limit is the maximum number of people that can enter the building at one time. If your building can only support 15 customers, then it doesn't matter how in demand the product is or how much advertising you do, your hourly sales will be limited to 15 customers. If you have money spare, then the buildings with the higher customer limits are definitely the way to go. Even if you find a building with good traffic and customer limit, if you don't have enough points of sale, you'll be limiting how much you make. If you can afford them, sales counters are the best as they can handle 50% more customers than cash registers. You can find them in the large appliance store. If you can't afford them, then 2 cash tills will normally suffice. You'll know if you'll need more points of sale if you see big queues inside the shop and your customers make the comment, "I can't find any cash registers." You have a finite number of customers coming into the store per hour, so it's vital those people are spending as much as possible. That's where customer satisfaction comes in. The higher it is, the more they'll spend. Make sure all the staff are wearing the same uniform. It can be accessed by clicking My Employees and changing the assigned outfit. If you don't have any uniforms, then you'll need to make some by clicking Configure Uniforms. Remember to give the cleaners the same uniform as well. You should also change the interior as soon as possible. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something different from the default look. I also place speakers for music in every shop and they can be found in the big furniture store. If you're unsure of how to improve the business, go visit the store and just stand inside. Customers will make comments on what they dislike about the store. Fix those issues and the satisfaction will rise. The other big factor is how good your employees are at customer service. When you're hiring, 50% seems to be the highest level you can find in any employee, so I suggest hiring anyone that's higher than 40%. The only way to increase that level further is to use a HR manager. You need a headquarters to hire HR managers and an office station consisting of a desk, computer and chair to assign them. HR managers are incredibly important to rake in the big money, so make sure you're using them. If you're struggling with a HQ, I'll create a separate video on how to set it up in the future. Advertising is the way to further boost how many customers enter your store. If your building has a large customer capacity, it can be difficult to actually reach that limit, so you need to use ads to boost sales. There are 2 advertisers in the game, McCain's eMarketing, which is the cheaper one with the biggest campaign costing $500 a day. And there's the next level up, City Ads, which focuses on billboards. Their largest campaign is $6,000 per day, which is a lot, so only use them when you have a decent income. For those of you with deep pockets, you should be using both of them and running all 6 campaigns at once. One thing you might notice, in the bigger buildings you'll have a lot of extra space. You can actually sell any product in any business, but the main business type you choose is what determines your most popular product. So always choose the business that matches the most in-demand items, then fill out the extra space with other products to create extra income. For example, in this clothing store, I've also added cheap and expensive gifts, but I did leave out jewelry because I already own a jewelry shop in the same district. Having 2 shops providing the same product can lower the demand. The last tip for generating more income is regarding the schedule. The shop that's open 7 days a week will always make more than the shop that's open 5 days, and you can make even more money by opening 24 hours a day. Managing the schedules gets a little trickier, but once it's set up, you don't need to mess with it. Use a mixture of full and part-time employees so you can cover all the hours without working them over their desired limits. You're paying them per hour, so you can hire as many employees as you need. But it does get harder to keep track of them. Some have certain demands like not working in the evening or working weekends. Trying to slot them in the right place becomes a puzzle. But once you solve that puzzle, you'll be generating a lot of money. If you have a HR manager, they can auto-schedule and fill out all the hours by clicking autofill from the schedule screen. They also try to stick with the employee's limits and demands, so if the part-timer only wants 30 hours, the manager will try to limit their hours to 30. Like I've said before, HR managers are extremely useful, even more when you start running multiple businesses. That's everything for this video. Consider subscribing so you don't miss out on more helpful tips on big ambitions.